Hello everyone, this month brought us a spectacular developer update video from the Skywind team. I'm constantly impressed by their creative brilliance, meticulous organization and unwavering dedication in every dev diary. I'll provide the link in the description if you have not watched it. The Skywind team's narrator and the video editor produced a very clear and impressive overview of each department's progress. Rather than repeating the video's exact contents, I have compiled approximately 20 screenshots from the showcase for us to analyze and nerd out together. So let's dive right in. This first image shows the armor slots of Skywind. Just look at that difference. Skyrim is such a joke. Dumbing down is insane, right? I won't be surprised if Bethesda will only offer all-in-one single-piece armor sets in the Elder Scrolls 6. I won't be surprised at all. Morrowind was absolutely incredible. Check this out. Elisa, my only Nerevarine character, is wearing a shirt. She then adds a bulletproof vest on top of that. That glass cuirass is so stylish. Then she chooses to wear a robe on top of all of that. Isn't that amazing? I'm super happy that the Skywind team has faithfully recreated many of these Morrowind armor slots. However, the coding lead of the Skywind project mentioned a limitation when I did the Skywind mechanics deep dive video recently. If you have not watched the video, the link is in the description. The coding lead says, we have brought back all armor slots for Skywind: helmet, cuirass, left-right pauldron, left-right gauntlet, greaves and boots. Likewise, robes can be worn over armor. The main difference between Skywind and Morrowind is that cuirass can no longer be worn over a shirt and greaves can no longer be worn over pants. This is due to the limited number of equipment slots available in the Skyrim engine. That's unfortunate. Wearing a cuirass over a shirt felt so cool in Morrowind, as you saw. Oh well, but at least we can wear a robe over a cuirass or a shirt, so that's cool. Next screenshot. This I thought was a nice touch. Here we have a steel staff of spraying, a staff that deals frost wind damage. At the bottom we have two colorful bars. The yellow bar is the weapon conditioning bar and the purple bar shows the enchantment level. What do you guys think? Do you prefer actual numbers or are these bars more than enough? Let me know in the comments. The coding lead of the Skywind project confirmed weapon conditioning in my mechanics video. Weapon and armor will degrade and perform worse and eventually break. To implement this, we've had to replace Skyrim's tempering system. We have renamed the armorer's skill to smithing. You'll use the skill to repair weapons and armor as in the original game, but in Skywind you will also be able to craft weapons and armor. Note that not everything will be craftable and some materials will require special training before you can craft them. Next screenshot is about the throwing weapon, and I love Morrowind's throwing weapon build. I prefer them over bows. So the fact that the Skywind team is creating special animations for them is just a chef's kiss. Oh wow, we get a first look at Skywind's CRPG-like trap system. Here we see a trap chest with a message, probe trap trigger. Next we see how our character is using his security skill to disarm the trap. This is pure character skill goodness, no stupid minigame. Haha, love it. Once the trap is disarmed, we observe a message as seen here. Now our character can safely access the chest. Unlike Oblivion and Skyrim, where any character can bypass traps without a single skill check, Skywind is returning to the franchise's true RPG roots. Much like the original Morrowind, your success in disarming traps will be dictated by your character's security skill rather than player reflexes. It is thrilling to see Skywind embrace these authentic RPG systems over the simplified approaches of Oblivion and Skyrim. The coding lead of the Skywind project shared more details about traps in my mechanics video. You will select what type of probe you want in your inventory: bent, apprentice, adept, etc. The game registers this as being equipped in terms of internal mechanics, but you won't be walking around wielding a probe like in Morrowind, nor will you attack traps with the probe. To attempt to disarm a trap, you will activate a trigger mechanism. Behind the scenes code will then determine if you succeed or not. Or if your skills aren't high enough, you'll be informed that the trap is too complex. One change from Skyrim is that instead of activating the mechanism once for each disarm attempt, as in Morrowind, in Skywind, one activation will cover multiple attempts at probing the trap. The attempts will keep running until either the trap is disarmed or the probe breaks. There were a few reasons for doing it this way, the main being that the code is much more efficient this way, something we have to be mindful of given how many scripted mechanics we are adding or revising overall. I am so excited to test Skywind traps and build my character's security skill. Now I will play a Morrowind clip where our hero, Niles Othrowell, uses his security skill to bypass 2 traps in a cave. He also uses his acrobatics skill and throwing weapons or the marksman skill to deal with enemies. The Skywind experience in this dungeon should be very similar to what you see here.
No one can match me. Hey, wait for me.
Now you die!
No one can match me. You.
You will suffer great! Now you die!
Niles Othrowell, what a badass! Haha, I love Morrowind so much. Next, we see a screenshot of a paralyzed enemy in Skywind. Yes, no more ragdoll nonsense of Skyrim, this feels like Morrowind. Skyrim has a mod called Classic Paralysis by Power of 3, which gets rid of the ragdoll and gets back the Morrowind style paralyze effect. I showcased this mod in one of my Elder Scrolls Morning Show episodes, so if you want to experience Skywind's Paralyze, you can add this mod to your Skyrim load order. Underwater combat is back. We can use melee and ranged weapons and even cast spells. Wonderful. Do remember, Skyblivion does not offer underwater combat, but the Skywind team is going above and beyond as usual. What legends! Morrowind has lots of underwater caves and grottos filled with enemies, so this is an extremely important feature, as you will see here. We have some light. Wow, underwater adventure. Amazing. Oh, you, skeleton. So I have a silver throwing star for you. Get ready. Silver throwing star, hilarious.
Wait for me.
Alright, we got an update. After a long dangerous swim, I've retrieved the water of life. Awesome. Next, we got a glimpse of the incredible Birthsign Selector UI. Wow! The font, the coloring, the constellations, stunning. But they have changed the abilities and powers if you look on the right side. In Morrowind, the Thief Birthsign only had a 10-point Sanctuary passive ability. Here we have all of these strange powers. In the next screenshot, we see the Warrior sign. The Warrior signs simply had a Fortify attack 10 points ability. Here I see some double damage stuff. Why not just follow Morrowind? The steed in Morrowind simply fortifies speed, but here we have a trait system with an advantage and a disadvantage. Birth signs are not traits. Very weird. I hope the Skywind coding team can clarify why they are making these changes to Morrowind birth signs. Next, the level up screen. Stunning colors and the UX design is fantastic as usual. But hang on, what is this? Luck plus 3. How is that possible? That luck plus 3 does not seem right. Luck can only have a +1 multiplier when leveling. I guess this is a UX bug, but I like the look of the level up screen. Next, the custom class screen. Wow, this is incredible. We select the 2 favored attributes and then we select the specialization, combat, magic and stealth. And then you have to select 9 major skills. Yes, the coding lead of the Skywind project mentioned the following in my mechanics video. We are actually using a system closer to Oblivion. The player will have to pick 9 major skills that will contribute towards level progression and the rest will be miscellaneous skills. Other than that, it is the same. The amount you can increase an attribute at each level is based on the skills you leveled up. Major skills will level up faster than miscellaneous skills, and so on. I like that we have the derived stats listed at the bottom as we make our selection. That's fantastic. And I assume this image will change based on our selection. Wow, the UX is incredible. Everything is on one screen, unlike the wizard system of Morrowind. Brilliant work by the Skywind team. Do share your observations on the UX in the comments. Next, we get to see the spellcrafting UI. Here we see the cast range is aimed, while the cast type is fire and forget. In the next image, the cast range is aimed, while the cast type is concentration. In the next image, the cast range is touch, while the cast type is fire and forget. This is interesting because Skyrim introduced concentration spells like flames. Skyrim also got rid of touch spells, and Morrowind did not have concentration spells. But Skywind will have touch spells and concentration spells. Isn't that amazing? In the next screenshot, we will see how we can combine effects and make a custom spell. The UX is amazing as usual. Everything is happening on a single screen. I also like how it mentions the spell level. That's new. Do share your observations on the spellcrafting system. Next, I'm shocked that the team has completed 85% of the quests. That is a lot of implementation work over a period of 10 years. Kudos to the questing team. Essentially, in 2 years, all quests will be playable. So Skywind may come out when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. Haha, what a bonanza. Let me know what you guys think about their overall progress and when do you think Skywind could release. Alright guys, we have come to the end of this Skywind update. Do share your observations from the video on what we discussed today. And thank you Skywind team for the continued passion and dedication. And thank you all for watching. May Vivek, Almalexia and Sotasil watch over you.